Hi, all of you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So, welcome all of you. For some of you, today is your first class. You had a session of maps before we began. We'll be starting with geomorphology and your course. Whenever you start the course, we have 2-3 entry points. We start the course either from geomorphology, we start the course from climatology, or we can start the course from population geography. आप जब भी course शुरू करो, your course will go on for 6 months. Okay, plus minus plus ही होता है generally. 7 to 10 days is what I take. The last batch I took about 13 days more. So don't get impatient before that. Okay, so that's one. Second is, I'm presuming all those who have joined me now, or maybe even last month, you're preparing for 25, not 24. Though there are two of you who have said you have done the course already, you want a quick revision with me, so you're thinking of 24 also. That's your call. Entirely your decision, what you think works for you best. Hello Nayan, Jashan, Harish, okay, Parvaz, Khushi, okay, all of you. Good afternoon, all of you. So that's one, 6 months. We're starting with paper 1. With paper 1, and the first unit is geomorphology. The first is geomorphology. Now, as a part of our study method, some of you are new to me here, you must do, number 1, some basic readings, okay, which is NCERT readings. We give these assignments. ये आप करना. Hi, Jashan. You have a lag in the streaming. Can others also tell me if you have a lag or is just Jashan's streaming problem? All is good? Harish? Nayan? Raj? No lag? It's fine? Okay, Jashan. So it's your connectivity issues there. ठीक है? Be patient. वो ठीक हो जाता है eventually. Small buffering might happen for some time. Fine. So as I said, as a part of our classes, you all must do some basic reading NCERTs, which will guide you with, and you all must have a reference textbook. A reference textbook for geomorphology is Geomorphology by Savindra Singh. Okay, so I have an old edition, but doesn't matter. Whatever edition you have, the book doesn't change much. So this is the book that I have. It has a cover on top. It shines. Okay, yeah. Now you can see it better. Okay, and there is another book which will say Physical Geography by Savindra Singh. You will not buy this one. The Physical Geography combines 4 units of geography. I want all of you to buy the separate ones. एक अलग से किताब Geomorphology है. There's a separate book, Climatology by Savindra Singh, a separate book, Oceanography by Savindra Singh, and a separate book, Environment Geography by Savindra Singh. You must buy in total about 8 to 9 books हैं, but you can start with these 4 books. Okay. What publication? It's Prayag Pustak Bhagwan Allahabad. Okay. Unless it has changed in recent times, I do not know. Shivam? Okay. यही है, change है. प्रवालिका publication. Okay, ठीक है. तो भाइयों में झगड़ा हो गया होगा. Okay. So it's now Pravalika publication. Okay, fine, Shivam. My book is an old one. Savindra Singh एक ही किताब है. Okay, don't have to bother about what publication. Yours is different. It has to be ऊपर लिखा होना चाहिए Geomorphology and Savindra Singh. बाकी कुछ भी चलेगा. Okay, Punjab Kesari publication also will do, as long it says Geomorphology by Savindra Singh. Okay, so don't buy this one. This book is a combined book. It's a combined book. इसमें lot of topics of syllabus is not there. Okay, that's the problem. You go by these books. So that's one. You all have to be alert in the class, make your notes while I teach. And by now, I think all of you also know, I look forward to you summarizing the notes. End of the session, you must have summaries. Okay, and preferably, your class notes 10 to 12 page ka hoga. The summary should be 1 page. It's a must to do. Which again I want कि you do it with us in the class space itself. When the class gets over, sit down, उसी momentum में खत्म करना आप लोग. ठीक है? That was starting off. Now, let me discuss what geomorphology is and what type of questions asked. Okay, we can start off now. Any questions? I was waiting कि ये doubt क्यों नहीं हुआ अभी तक. Okay. ये हर batch में ये problem होता है. Somebody will say, sir, I have this book, can I keep the book? You have this book, of course I don't say burn it and throw it. उसको रखो, definitely रखो, उसको keep it on the shelf. But you have to follow these books. And please don't bargain with me here. Okay, I have done the due diligence here. Your syllabus, there are some topics which this book will not have. Okay, just because you have bought the book does not mean you can't buy another one. ले लिया ठीक है, lot of topic common भी होगा, but these are specialized books. The physical geography, एक किताब, okay, is as thick as this one, and each of this अलग से इतना है, तो इसमें कुछ ज़्यादा ही होगा, right? So you have this book, fine, but I will not refer this book. And my suggestion is, please get these books to class also. I will need you to mark it, not everyday basis. Maybe once in 2 or 3 days or 4 days, may I help you mark the book also. So you must refer to the books. In fact, last evening, I had 2 students who talked to me, and they have been studying geography from 2022 early. March से पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, and this is 24, 2 साल हो चुका है, and their concern was that sir, geography पकड़ में नहीं आया है. Thank you. Geography, sir, I'm forgetting things. Some concepts I don't understand. And my first question was, what are you studying? So we are studying the notes. Have you summarized the notes? No. Second question I asked is, have you referred the books? Again, no. तो वहीं तो आगे खत्म हो गया कहानी, right? If you cannot, understand that the process is not simply memorizing some facts. The process requires you to understand concepts. The classes is it okay now? Online? Is it okay now online? Yeah. The purpose of the class kya hai? The class will guide you. The class will teach you the most relevant concepts. The class will help you focus in the studies. But actual study happens when you go back and read again, refer to the books, you patiently try to understand the concepts. उसके लिए आपको reference चाहिए. Okay, so this same mistake you do in current affairs also. Current affairs का एक source आपका newspaper है, and another source is those booklets that institutions give you. If you focus only on the booklets, or you attend some class where something is dictated to you, आपको PPT दिखा दिया, okay, कुछ notes दे दिया. If your current affairs इस level में है, believe me, you can never be comfortable with current affairs. Because this is processed material. This is processed. Somebody has done the dirty work for you and giving you the most important words. But your understanding will only come if you do this. So, try to not be averse to reading books. And yes, the smartness is that don't read the entire book. Okay, this is not a book you must read cover to cover. It's a book for masters, for research, graduation का proper जो 3 साल का course होता है उसके लिए काम आता है. What you should do is very okay, selective reading, and that's where I'll help you with. And once selective reading is done, उसके बाद आपको जो पढ़ना है आप पढ़ें as you have more time or more patience. Okay, so let's not talk ourselves out of this method. Subhashri, we just started off, okay, telling you I'm starting with geomorphology, and I gave a list of books that you have to buy. Geomorphology by Savindra Singh, Climatology by Savindra Singh, Oceanography by Savindra Singh, and Environment Geography by Savindra Singh. Which magazine? Anisha, for geography, you have Down to Earth and Yojana and Kurukshetra. Okay, and these two books are for largely environment issues. Down to Earth has environment issues. Yojana Kurukshetra will have rural development, issues of environment, issues related to industries hoga isme. Okay, and plus we have one compilation every 15 days, which is the current affairs of geography and environment. So if you open up your Edukemy website, एक resources section है. In the resources section, there is current affairs in general and current affairs, geography and environment. So if you do this much, it should be fine. And whatever otherwise you need, I will keep teaching that in the class also. But the focus is newspapers are very important. Every day you'll have at least one article around geography. ठीक है Anisha? Okay, we'll come back on that afterwards. So we are starting with geomorphology. Now, geomorphology is the study of the Earth's surface and its composition, landforms, okay, and the changes related to, okay, external and internal forces. Jeshan, now that's a tricky one. You're targeting 24, optional bilkul kiya nahi hai. I don't know how you're planning this. If you're targeting 24, then study for prelims mainly. Then just come to class and go back to prelims. I do not know how you have thought through or you have planned through. It's not what I would have recommended, but your focus with prelims, the geography class is more a quick attend, but you cannot do a lot of things we do here. You focus on the prelims. Okay. So I repeat that geomorphology is the study of Earth's surface. When I say Earth's surface, you have got continents. The surface also includes the ocean surface. And in what way? In terms of what are the rocks, what are the elements, what are the landforms, and how are these changing because of internal forces and because of external forces. So, landform, there is a mountain. Landform, there is a plateau. Landform, there could be a valley. A landform could be a mountain range on the ocean floor. A landform can be a deep depression called as a trench. Okay? So, geomorphology studies the surface in terms of, when I say its composition, the composition is the rocks, the elements, and the landforms. Yes, the class has started. As I speak, keep writing. I will not dictate everything. I will dictate, I'll discuss, I will write. Okay, so you start the process and be very alert. Okay, because these are not the questions which they will ask you. They will not ask you write in 10 words or 10 marks what's geomorphology. Okay, so I will not make you write this by dictation, but you be alert. I repeat, geomorphology is the study of Earth's surface and its composition and its landforms. The study of Earth's surface, its composition, its landforms, and the changes because of external and internal forces, and the changes because of external and internal forces. So I was showing this in terms of a small schematic. When I say the surface includes the surface of the continents, it includes the surface of the oceans. This is the surface of the continent. This is surface of the oceans. And there are many landforms. I said mountain is a landform. Plateau is a landform. In fact, the landforms, even inside the continents, yahan bhi hoga landforms. I'm sure you have heard something about batholiths, the massive rock formations inside the continents. The study of the landforms and how the changes are happening, because something is happening inside. There are internal forces and there are external forces. The winds are moving, the glaciers are moving, the waves are eroding. So that is geomorphology. Now, geomorphology, agar aap syllabus dekhoge, the geomorphology has 3 parts. One is called as the tectonic geomorphology. One is called as the tectonic geomorphology. When I use the word tectonic, I am implying all large scale forces, okay, because of Earth's interior conditions and the changes because of that. जब भी ये word tectonic आएगा, it means a large scale force. Mountains are moving, continents are moving, volcanic eruptions are happening. ये बहुत large scale force है. It's a massive force that we have. Okay, so when I'm saying geomorphology is, one part is the tectonic. The word tectonic comes from the word technology, technique, which means building, kuch ban raha hai. Okay, technology is building something. So tectonic are the forces from inside the earth that create things. They create continents, they create rift valleys, they can create volcanoes, they create the oceans, they create magma. So tectonics are about the large scale forces because of Earth's interiors. They happen from inside the earth. And whatever are the consequences, okay, and the changes because of that. Okay, so that's about tectonics. The second type of study is called as structural geomorphology. Okay. Now, structural word is used for studying landforms and their changes. Okay. Tectonics में हम क्या पढ़ रहे हैं? Large scale force पढ़ रहे हैं, अंदर से जो force आता है, and what that does. The word structural is used for studying the landforms. So it's like earth is here, something massive happens inside this, and a mountain is formed. So what happens, what is pushing up, what's coming out, that is tectonics. If I ignore this and I focus only on this mountain and how the mountain changes, there's erosion happening, a river is moving, okay, maybe there is some glacier moving. So when I study the landform alone and its changes, I call that as structural geomorphology. So the study of exogenetic processes, the process because of Earth's atmosphere, wind is moving, the study of reverse action, the study of glaciers. The structural includes landforms, their changes. It includes exogenetic processes. Exo means outside the earth. Internal है, tectonic हो गया. It's all internal, about the earth's interiors. जो बाहर वाला हो गया, that is exogenic. Okay. And in this, we also study how slopes change. In a syllabus, there's a topic called as theory of slopes. Okay, a steep slope, gentle slopes. Okay, there's some models in that. It becomes part of structural. Some believe that tectonic is a bigger word and add this inside tectonic itself. There's no hard, fast rule here, but whenever you use the word structure, you're limiting yourself to the landform itself and its changes. And the third is the applied geomorphology. Applied geomorphology. As in how it impacts man. Okay, how it impacts maybe our activities, our disasters, how it impacts mining. Lot of resources come from the land. Okay, we are vulnerable because of landslides, volcanism. We can use the land for construction, bridges, buildings. This is the human aspect, applied geomorphology. Questions, they keep shifting here. For a long time, they have not been asking this. Last bar, they have asked last year. Otherwise, for almost 6-7 years, इस पे कुछ पूछ ही नहीं रहे थे. We're asking more on this. So they keep shifting here. But this is always relevant. Landslides, volcanoes, earthquake management. Okay, this is hydrology. How does floods, urban floods? So all the three important, and this is very contemporary. This is all current affairs. Applied geomorphology. Okay, that is the syllabus that you have to focus on. Now, see, there is a difference between geomorphology and geology. Okay. Now, geomorphology, अगर compare करोगे, this is relatively more superficial. Okay, not in as much depth. Geology में we go into lot of depths. कि mineral क्या है, उसका composition क्या है, chemical reactions क्या होते हैं. So geology is okay, very, very deep. Geography takes a part of geology only as much to understand how things are changing on the earth. It's like, I as a father, okay, have a son, one fine evening not well. I see his fever. I use a thermometer. Okay, I make a guess. He's coughing. It could be a flu. And I give him a crocin. कि जाओ तुम ठीक हो जाओगे. That's my approach as a father. If I go to a doctor, he definitely does something much more different. Okay, so I treating my son is more superficial. Okay, but a doctor treating goes more deep. इसको वैसे ही कुछ देखो आप. So geomorphology में we have elements of geology, but not very deep. Why I'm saying this is, some of you, because of geography background, will also want to give the forest examination. But forest में geography नहीं है. Geology subject है. So you can consider, in fact, a lot of people do consider and they qualify. But you must do a bit more study and not limit yourself to what I have taught in the class alone. Geography is 3 years course. Geology is almost semi-engineering. Okay, so not the same things, but of course, there's some overlap. Now, the first topic we'll discuss is the conditions of the Earth's interiors. The condition of the Earth's interiors. What does the interior look like? What are conditions? And some theories we'll read on this. Conditions of the Earth's interiors. Now, couple of facts. Number one, Earth is a rocky planet. So I presume from a GS you understand Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, they are called as rocky planets. They are like Earth, so we also call them as terrestrial planets. And then we have Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, okay, and Uranus. Yeah, I keep forgetting Uranus every time. Uranus and Neptune. These 4 are called as gaseous planets, and they are more like Jupiter. So we also call these as Jovian planets. Jovian means Jupiter. Juno is Jupiter. Okay? So Earth is rock means Earth is not a ball of gas alone. ऐसा नहीं है कि यहाँ पर rocks नहीं है. Okay, but not as much as these planets have. Okay, so Earth is a rocky planet. Inside is rocky. Earth is also the densest planet in the solar system. Earth ka density is approximately 5 to 5.5. It is the densest planet in the solar system. And Earth's का जो interiors है, the interiors of Earth, okay, is layered. The interiors of Earth is layered. The Earth is not one large piece of rock नहीं है. Earth के layers हैं. One layer, second layer, a third layer, and so on. And that is a very, very important finding of the Earth. The Earth has layers, and the layers that we have, okay, the layering is okay with the rocks and mineral composition and density. Okay. The layering is with respect to rock and mineral composition and density. Means the layers vary not just in density, but even the type of rock here are different from rock here, are different from rocks here. There is a composition variation in the Earth's interiors. Okay, Deepak. When I say 5.5, I don't have a unit ka matlab hai, it is specific density. Okay, the density is always with respect to the water. If water is 1, this means it is 5 times heavier than water. Okay, so specific density when relating to water, you don't use units. You simply say 5.5. Okay, so layering is with respect to the rocks and the minerals, and the layering is in terms of density. So the layering is a type of composition and density differentiation. The word differentiation means how are they separate, how are they different from one another. The interiors of Earth have layering, it has composition differentiation, and it has density differentiation. Okay? Why I must use both terms? Okay, look at this. Say I have a box. Okay? In the box, there is cotton. And I am pushing from the top. Because I am pushing from the top, you realize, no, that this one will be more compacted, this will be a bit less compacted, and this upar hai to aur kam compact hoga. I am pushing from the top. Okay? So this will have the weight of entire this also. This will have this weight also. So is layer mein, if I go from top towards bottom, will the density be more? Yes, the packing is more. But is the material changing? No. Think of another case. Okay. Say there is a lower layer of wool. There is one layer of mud. There is one layer of cotton. And maybe I have something else. So when I am pressing this, again I am compacting. So will the densities be different? Yes. And will the composition also be different? Yes. So in this case, the density difference is only because of the compression. यहाँ पे क्या reason है? Compression and composition. So Earth का जो density variations हैं, so layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4. Layer 1 has density D1, layer 2 has D2, layer 3 has D3 and D4. The density variation is not only because of compression. It's also because the rock is different from the rock here. It's different from the rock here. It's different from the rock here. So the variations of density are not a function of the weight and compression alone. It's also a function of what is it made up of. Is it okay, all of you here? So a question banta hai, if you go inside, okay, it becomes more and more dense. Okay. The reason is not simply pressure. Okay. If you add more pressure, it becomes more dense. This is called as pressure densification. What I'm saying is, it is not only because of pressure, it's more because of the composition. Let me ask you a question. Can I apply the same logic for atmosphere also? Right? Atmosphere bhi aisa hi hai na? You press it, the lower layers will have more density. As we go above, it becomes less dense, right? Above heights mein you can't breathe well. Why? Because air kam hai. So in the atmosphere, do we have compression in the lower layers? Yes, more density. Okay, so do we have density differentiation in atmosphere? Yes. Is the composition also changing with the height? No. That's the difference. There are some layers where there might be some variation of gases, but in general, the gases are very well mixed. We call the atmosphere as a single gas. As thodi hai ki, okay, there's more oxygen. Now see, I'm digressing. Okay. Nitrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen, and water vapor. Nitrogen 14, right? 14, 28 is the weight. Carbon dioxide, okay, O2 32 plus 12, 44 is the weight. This is, okay, 32. And this is, okay, 16 plus 2, 18. सबसे भारी कौन सा है? Carbon dioxide. If it was weight as the issue, then CO2 should have been the lowermost layer. Okay, so agar it was only in terms of the density, then this would have been the lower layer. इसके ऊपर होता oxygen, इसके ऊपर होता nitrogen, and water would have been here. ऐसा थोड़ी होता है ऐसे. In atmosphere, it's all mixed, no? So the atmosphere mein, the variation of density is not only because of compression. It is only because of compression. Because the gases are very well mixed. Whatever gases we find here are also what we find here. And they are very well, mixed to act as single gas. Air gets thin because of the compression. The lower air mein compression zyada hai. Okay. Anyways, we'll come back again on this, Shivam. So I hope you understand that the density variations are not only because of the weight, they're also because of different rock types. अच्छा, मैंने छेड़ दिया तो आप मुझे छेड़ रहे हो. Atmosphere, there are two properties to atmosphere. One is, atmosphere is gas. Okay. And atmosphere is also, atmosphere is gas. And this gas has weight, and atmosphere is also compressible. So if I have atmosphere here, ये पूरा gas है. I have molecule 1, I have got molecule 2, I have got molecule 3, molecule 4, all these are gases. और इसका भी weight है. So molecule 7 has a weight of 6 gases. Molecule 6 has the weight of 5 gases. The molecule 5 has the weight of 4 gases. So this molecule is pressed more. This molecule a bit less pressed. This molecule a bit more lesser pressed. That's why the lower layers are more packed. You go above, it becomes less packed. You go further above, it becomes even less packed. So why we have more pressure here is because of the weight thing. Not because the gases here are different from the gases here. Right? Gases ka ratio same hai. Okay. Nitrogen, okay, 78%, oxygen 21%, CO2 0.03%, and so on. So you can consider that this packet of air has the same gases as this packet of air, has the same gases as this packet of air. Difference is, यहाँ पर ज़्यादा air है because of compression. Okay, I think I'll leave it here. We'll come back afterwards for climatology. So our important point was that while discussing Earth's interiors, you must understand the variations we have in the layers are a function of both composition and density. The interiors become more dense, not just because you have got more pressure, also because the rocks are different. This was the important conclusion that we have to have in the Earth's interiors. All fine till here, all of you? You all keep writing as I speak. Inflation? What inflation? Oh, but आप गलत जगह आ गए. Okay. Inflation after you become RBI governor. This is the process. Qualify this, the next governor is you. Okay. Or you're talking about expansion. उसकी inflation नहीं बोलेंगे, expansion नहीं बोलेंगे. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, back here. Now, this layered earth, the layered earth का reason क्या है? Why is the earth layered? Okay, so we have a theory of Earth's and solar system's origin. It's called as the nebular hypothesis. The theory of Earth and solar system's origin called as the nebular hypothesis. This was given by two people. The older one was given by Immanuel Kant and the later one was given by Laplace. Kant में mistakes बहुत सारे हैं, ignore that, but this is still valid to some extent. Okay, and this theory says that initially everything was a gas. Okay, everything was like a cloud. Okay, this was an ancient cloud. Okay, we use the term primordial. The word primordial का मतलब होता है something very, very, very old, primitive types. There was a primordial cloud, and this cloud had gases. This cloud had dust. It had lot of other cosmic particles about which you do not know. It could be neutrinos. It can be something called dark matter, जो हमें पता नहीं है. So all of that is together. This cloud is also called as the nebula. Okay, this is called as the nebula. Nebula is a cloud of gas and dust. This nebula will undergo cooling and contraction. Okay, this process is called as accretion. The nebula undergoes accretion. It cools and it starts to contract, condense. And in this contraction, there is a process called as gravity collapse. Okay. In the gravity collapse, what happens is the heavier matter will fall inside, and the lighter matter will remain progressively outwards. The heavy matter will fall inside and the lighter matter will remain progressively outwards. बाहर रहेगा. Cosmic particle, Komal, means something part of the space, cosmos. Outer space is cosmos. The universe is the cosmos. There are some particles which are in the outer space about which we do not know. Okay. in general we call all of that as a dark matter. हमें पता नहीं है वहां पर क्या है. Okay, so all of that will undergo some kind of cooling, contraction, accretion, gravity collapse, and इसमें क्या होगा? Whatever is heavier will fall inside first, and जो lighter है it remains outside. Typically, the innermost layer therefore will be most dense. इसके बाद का layer जो होगा it will be a bit less dense. इसके बाद में layer होगा a bit less heavy. The lighter ones are further outside. So how do we explain Earth's formation of the layers? Yes, Jayesh. So this model is the best model to explain how the density and the composition variations happens. Inside the Earth, there are layers. So we say a nebular accretion process. The nebular accretion process best explains the density and the composition differentiation of the Earth's interiors. The nebular accretion process best explains the density and the composition differentiation of the Earth's interiors. Tarun, that's how they behave. Nebular process mein, that's what happens. That's what happens how a star dies. That's what happens in a black hole. That's what happens in all the celestial cosmic bodies. Uska why, I think it's beyond me. We just accept it happens, the consequence of which is the layers of the Earth. Debarga, no, don't go that way. Itna kafi hai. Okay. We don't go into that kind of depth. Can I move on from here now, all of you? Okay. Yes? Accretion means, something getting, cooler and condensing. The word accrete is English word growth. So when the gases are becoming cold and they fall inside and they become solid. So I don't use the word solidification. The right word for this is accretion. That's all. Yes, is the process of differentiation of the Earth's interiors. Okay, let's move on. Now, there's the first layers and how layers. The second point, the second discussion is, the first one I said, what is the nature of the Earth's interiors? Nature is, it is layered, and why do we have layers? The second is the pressure patterns of the Earth's interiors. Yeah, already bata diya maine already. The pressure patterns of the Earth. Pressure patterns, ya phir, the right word will be not pressure, say density patterns. First was the layered nature and its origin. The first discussion was interiors are layered and why are they layered? The second is the density patterns. So remove the word pressure, I got the word wrong. So density patterns of the Earth's interiors. It bata diya maine already that with increasing depth, density also increases. Increasing depth, the density of the layers also increases. Earth का एवरेज डेंसिटी कितना बताया मैंने? 5.5. जो आउटर लेयर्स हैं, which we call as the crust. Crust has a density of about 2 to 3 to 3.5. Outer layers are lighter. Okay. ये जो 2 में लिखा है, this is the density of the continent. 3.5 is the density of the oceans. In geomorphology, whenever I use the word ocean, I don't mean the water. I mean the rocks of the ocean floor. So agar ye continent hai and this is the ocean basin and say this is the water, I'm talking about the continents and I'm talking about the ocean ka jo rocks hai. So, and there are two different type of compositions. The continents are different, the oceans are different. The continents have density of 2, 2.5. The oceans have 3, 3.5. Okay. The outer layers are this. The intermediate layers, which we'll call as the mantle eventually, they have a density that varies from 4, 5 to as much as 9, 10. The intermediate layers are called as the mantle. Mantle varies from 4, 5 to about 9, 9.5, 10 tak jata hai, density of the mantle. It's a very large layer. This is the bulk of the Earth's interiors. Okay. And if you look at the innermost layer, the innermost one is called as the core. The core density is around 11 to 13.5. Okay. The point is, if you start from above, you go down. Okay. The density is increasing as I go down. So the outermost layers are the lightest. The intermediate layers have something else, and the core is the densest. And the answer we said was that this variation of density is not just because of the pressure. चलो वो तो है ही, चलो ठीक है. Earth का radius कितना है? The Earth's radius is 6,400 kilometer. Okay. इतना अगर air भी होगा तब भी भारी होने वाला है. So yes, you're right. If I come here, there's the entire weight of this pushing it down. So that is the pressure factor. But then we said pressure is not the most important factor. The more important factor is that the compositions are different. The type of rocks here, the type of minerals here are different from the rocks and the minerals here. So one sentence, the density variations through the depth of the earth, the density variations through the depth of the earth is not because of pressure factor alone. Is not because of the pressure factor alone. It is more because of the composition of the earth. It is more because of the composition of the earth. Okay, जो rocks हैं वही different हैं by the time we reach the interiors of the earth. Now we'll have a small discussion on the composition. Can I move on, all of you? The new students, you will struggle for some time keeping pace and deciphering my handwriting and work of art. Okay, but don't lose faith. Okay, hang on there. I am trying, and so must you. Okay, I'm repeating terms. I'll answer your doubts. जो भी है पूछ लिया करो. Whatever doubts you have, I'll clarify. यार ऐसे इमोशनल मत क्या करो मुझे. Will I teach complete geomorphology here? Have you paid completely? If it is an installment basis पे पढ़ाई होगा. Yes, we'll teach you entire geomorphology, don't worry. Whatever you need for the examination as a foundation part, we'll complete. Syllabus आपका हो जाएगा इससे, don't worry. Okay, fine. You make me nervous, you know. It's just like before the marriage, अच्छे इंसान बनोगे. Okay. शाम को टाइम से आ जाओगे. Okay. मुझे घुमाने ले चलोगे यार. पहले शादी तो कर लो, देखते हैं फिर बाद में. Okay. Don't catch my collar from day one. प्यार से धीरे धीरे, आप भी गोली देना, मैं भी संभालूंगा. ओके, विल सी. हाँ सर, या सॉरी. सबका अलग अलग हिस्ट्री होता है, आपका क्या है मुझे नहीं पता है. ठीक है. सबको अपने अपने लेवल का मिल ही जाता है. ओके, मैं तो बड़ा खुश हूं यार. आई एम फाइन. In the age of recordings, we can't risk more than this. Okay, so okay, I tell my wife, she's so lucky to have me. Okay, incredible luck. Okay, so I have no doubt there. Okay, yeah, let's get back here. Pressure वैसे ही बढ़ रहा है, so we'll not digress. Okay, now some idea about the rocks and the minerals. I will be very, very superficial here. Not too much. They will not ask you. If you know some terms, it will be nice. Okay? Now, the interiors, you write this as points, okay? The interiors of Earth are majorly igneous rocks and metamorphic rocks. Okay, interiors mein, I hope you know these two terms. Igneous rocks are those formed from the lava and the magma. Okay, metamorphic rocks, some transformation happens. Okay, the bulk of the rocks of the interiors are igneous and metamorphic. Sedimentary rocks, they make up the superficial layers of the continents. याद रहे ये, sedimentary rocks are not found on the ocean crust. Okay, so sedimentary rocks are found on the continents and on the part of the continental crust. हाँ, ये possible हो सकता है that some of the continental crust is under the water. Okay, that's possible. It's like this is the continent and this is the ocean. Water is here. So this part of continent पानी के अंदर है, but ये crust जो है ये continent का है, ये ocean का नहीं है. So this one can have some sedimentary rocks, but I will not have sedimentary rocks on the ocean crust. Let this part very clear. दीपक बेटा बहुत देर हो चुकी मेरे लाइफ में, ये सजेशन है सर, थोड़ा हैंडराइटिंग ठीक कर लो. ओके, सी दिस इज डेलिबरेट टू टेल यू व्हाई आपको मार्क्स नहीं मिलेंगे अगर आपने ठीक से नहीं लिखा तो. लेट दिस इंस्पायर यू कि आपको अच्छा लिखना है. अदरवाइज बेटा मैं थोड़ी टीचर बनने आया था. ओके, आई एम द कैजुअलिटी ऑफ मे बी माई हैंडराइटिंग. तो जब जब मुझे देखो याद रहे. ओके, ये आप पढ़ाई करो या बाद में और पढ़ के पढ़ाना पड़ेगा. दीपक, इस पार्ट ऑफ गॉड्स डिजाइन मेरे हाथ में है ही नहीं है. I should have met you 15 years ago. Okay, I would have done something in my life. Okay, so sedimentary rocks make up the superficial layers of the continents and the continental crust. The third fact is that the interiors of the earth are made up of very, very basic, when I say, I mean the pH value, very, very high basic rocks. We call such rocks as ultramafic rocks. We call such rocks as ultramafic. The word mafic means M-A-F-I-C. Mafic means magnesium and iron. The interiors of Earth are made up of very high basic rocks, the pH value. इसको हम बोलते हैं ultramafic. We call these as ultramafic rocks. Example of ultramafic rocks are rocks, something like a rock called as dunite. This is not found on the Earth's surface. ये बहुत deep ही मिलता है. Okay. A rock called as peridotite. This is the main rock of the mantle. Okay. The interiors of Earth are made up of very high basic rocks. They're called as ultramafic rocks, examples of which are dunite and peridotite. P-E-R-I. So these are the rocks of, okay, the mantle. These are the rocks of a layer called as asthenosphere. I'm sure some of you have heard this, you have read this in NCRTs maybe. लिख लो, सब पढ़ा देंगे बाद में eventually. Okay. Whereas the oceans are made up of basalt. Okay. Basalt is an example of an extrusive mafic rock. Example of an extrusive mafic rock. Basalt. Basalt ocean में मिलता है mainly. Okay. And basalt is, okay, it is one of the more dense rocks. Basalt is one of the more dense rocks. इसमें कुछ R&D नहीं है, simply you remember the terms. I'll come back on all of this afterwards, but I want you to know these terms a bit more familiar, that's all. Okay. Now the fifth point is the continents are made up of, okay, a type of rock called as felsic rocks. Felsic rocks by nature are more acidic. The continents are made up of felsic rocks. Continents are felsic, oceans are basic. Okay. जो basalt है, जहां भी word mafic लिखेगा, this will be a basic rock. Ultramafic is even more basic. Okay. Continents are made up of felsic rocks, जो acidic हैं. Example of felsic rock, remember a rock called as granite. Remember a rock called as a diorite. They are basic rocks. And continents are also made up of, okay, sedimentary rocks. Continents also made up of sedimentary rocks. Okay. So quickly, as I go down, the density becomes more. As I go down, the rocks are more and more ultramafic. Examples of which are, I said, dunite and peridotite. The oceans are made up of basalt, one type of mafic rock hai, and the continents are made up of felsic and sedimentary rocks. And I made one important point, sedimentary rocks are not found on the ocean crust. Oceans can have depositions, but oceans do not have sedimentary rocks. Arun, what are rocks, different rocks? Beta, ye sab GS wala hai. Okay. The course has just started for us, you can join that, no problem. Optional mein I won't enter that depth. मुझे बहुत कुछ बताना है. So this is, okay, some bit of your own work. If I have time, I'll come back and explain a bit more. But what are igneous metamorphic rocks? I can't handle this here at this stage at least. बाद में हम देख लेंगे. If you want some more, I'll do that. Okay, let's move on. Now another fact here that the most common minerals of the earth are the silicate minerals. The most common minerals of the earth are the silicate minerals. A group hai. If you look at the minerals, there are different type of minerals. We have silicate minerals, we'll have oxide minerals, we'll have sulfate minerals, we will have a carbonate minerals. ऐसे बहुत सारे minerals हैं. Okay, halides, yes, halogen like sodium chloride, halides, carbonates, sulfate, SO4 double minus is, okay, sulfate. This is a sulfate mineral, like gypsum. If you know, gypsum is sulfate. Oxides, OXID, oxides like iron, hematite, iron ore is oxides. Silicates, this is carbonates, okay, like calcite, okay, carbonates, and halides. Halides have, okay, fluorine, chlorine, and all of that, halides. So what I'm saying is, the silicates make up the bulk of the minerals of the earth. If you're looking at Earth's composition, okay, whether you talk about the Earth's crust or you talk about the whole Earth, दोनों केस में silicon and oxygen are abundant. इसमें भी silicon and oxygen are abundant. The compound is called as silicates. ठीक है? So the Earth's most common mineral are the silicates. Now silicates जो होते हैं, 7 point, there are 7 major silicates. There are 7 major silicates. Okay, so इसको इसी sequence में लिखना. Quartz. There's one type called as a feldspar. Feldspar can have lot of varieties. We have something called as muscovite. If you know something called as mica, we have something called as biotite. We have amphiboles. We have pyroxene, and we have olivine. These are the 7 important silicate minerals of the earth. Quartz, feldspar, muscovite, biotite, amphibole, AMPHIBOLE, amphiboles, pyroxene, and olivine. ये सब topics में ज़्यादा सोचना नहीं है. You just remember this. The 6-7 names you remember. Now, these 3, quartz, feldspar, muscovite, these are more acidic. These are lighter, and these are harder. In fact, quartz is the hardest mineral. The hardest substance natural is quartz. ये ज़्यादा hard होता है और हल्का होता है. Okay, and these 3, they are basic. These 3 are denser and they are softer also. These 3, they're also called as non-ferromagnesium silicates. They'll not have too much of iron and almost no magnesium. They're called as non-ferromagnesium silicates. And these are called as ferromagnesium silicates. They're called as ferromagnesium silicates. Okay. They'll have more of magnesium, more of iron content. Okay. These minerals are the ones which will make a felsic rocks. And these are the ones that make the mafic rocks. So this is a very important chart. इसी sequence में याद रखना. Quartz, feldspar, muscovite, biotite, amphibole, pyroxene, olivine. Sand has more of quartz than feldspar. Okay. Basalt has more of this. Mantle has more of this. Okay. So quartz, feldspar जो है, this is more in granite rock. these are more in basalt rocks. Olivine is more in the mantle rock. I used a name peridotite. Much of a conversation यही दो रॉक से बन जाएगा, granites and basalt. Yes, I can appreciate. We teach a bit more detail in the GS class. Because GS geography and optional geography is not exactly the same. Okay, I said no, I am not teaching geography. I am teaching what can be asked in geography in the examination. So I must differentiate. Approach of GS is not same as approach in optional. I presume wherever you do your GS geography, these some things you must know a bit more detail. Optional में इतना काफी है. All fine here? So first discussion was Earth में layers हैं. The second discussion was that there is a density variation as I go inside the Earth. And the density variation is because of the composition. So if I know this, so what do I know now? Above layers have more lighter rocks. The deeper layers have more dense rocks. Above layers have more of felsic rocks. The deeper has more of mafic rocks. The above layers will have sedimentary, सबसे हल्का होता है. The lower layers will have only igneous and some metamorphic rocks. So how I'm going to apply all of this is, so if these are the layers of the Earth, like I said, the superficial layers, okay, the continent and the ocean crust layers, okay, they will have lighter rocks, they have lighter silicates, okay, they will have more of okay, sedimentary rocks. As I go down, these are more of dense rocks. These are very, very ultra mafic rocks. Okay, they will have more of ferro-magnesium silicate minerals. They will have more of non-ferromagnesium silicates. So density of the Earth जो variation है इस वजह से है. The above layers are non-ferromagnesium silicates. The above layers are more sedimentary rocks. Okay, the above layers are lighter silicates. Like sand मैंने बोला. Sand has lot of quartz. You go down, you'll have more of olivine and one more dense type of olivine. Olivine is a mineral. A dense type of olivine is a variety called as spinel. This is a mineral. Olivine and spinel, S-P-I-N-E-L. Yes, correct, Jayesh. As I go down, it becomes more dense, it becomes more basic, it becomes more darker. Yes, you are right. And also more fluid when molten, correct. Okay, you remember this. Go down, the density increases. Go down, the basicity increases. The iron and magnesium amount will increase. Yeah, good summary there. Density increases, the basicity increases, and the iron and the magnesium composition will also increase. will also increase. All fine, all of you? Fine. Let's move on. Now, the next discussion is, the third, jaise bhi ab numbering kare. The next is the temperature patterns of the interiors. The interiors are layers. The interiors, rocks, they vary with depth, and so I gave you some names. In the interiors, how does the temperature pattern vary and change? Okay. Now, inside, Earth has very high heat. Okay. As you go inside, Earth is very, very hot. ये heat का source क्या है? Okay. From where does the energy of the Earth come from? So partly it is what we call as the residual gravity heat. The residual heat. Okay. When it was a nebula, it was very, very hot. In time, it has cooled, but abhi bhi andar heat hai. That's why we call this as residual heat. Okay. Then when something is cooling, contracting, but ek aur cheez hai, contraction process also creates heat. If you know something called as fusion going on. Okay, when two elements, for whatever reason, they fuse, even that can create heat. Okay, so this heat is the remnant of, this is the remnant of the ancient nebula that was very, very hot. The remnant of an ancient nebula that was very, very hot. And second is, inside we also have radioactivity going on. The lot of radioactive elements like uranium, uska hota hoga disintegration. So this is the source of the heat of the interiors. In fact, when Earth was formed, Earth must have been far more hotter than what we have today. Right? Earth must have had far higher temperature than what we got today. Over the millions and billions of years, Earth has cooled down, but फिर भी अंदर वो heat है. Okay, now, in terms of the pattern, okay, number one, the initial 10 or 15 kilometers mein, okay, the temperature falls by about 2 to 3 degrees. Okay, you go down, sorry, temperature not falls, increases. The temperature increases by 2 to 3 degrees. Okay, per kilometer types it increases. The initial, iske baad, okay, thereafter there is no specific pattern with depth. Initially ऐसे घट रहा है, as you go down, okay, the pattern is not anything particular. Yes, Aniket, correct. This nebular heat is also called as primordial heat, correct. It's also called as the primordial heat, right. So our point here is, initially में थोड़ा बहुत pattern है, जो भी है, but thereafter not much pattern. However, okay, the following are the observations. जैसे number one, at locations of tectonic activities, जहाँ पर some continents are colliding, some places where volcanism is happening, some places where some trenches and faults are forming, places where there is tectonic activity going on. यहाँ पर the temperatures can exceed 1000 degrees centigrade. Areas of tectonic activities can have temperatures in the excess of 1000 degrees centigrade. Second, in the areas, okay, a part of deeper and the intermediate mantle, in the parts of the deeper and the intermediate mantle, the temperatures can be in the range of about 2000, 1500 से 2000 centigrade. If you are moving at a depth of around 500 kilometers, 700 kilometer के depth पे, the temperatures can be around 1500 to 2000 or 2500 degrees centigrade. When you hit the core mantle boundary, the temperatures can be about 3000 degrees centigrade. Core mantle boundary, the temperatures can be about 3000 degrees centigrades. Okay, I'm talking about approximately a depth of 2800 kilometers from the surface. And in the core of the part में core, the temperatures can be more than 4000, touching and crossing 5000, 6000 degrees centigrade. Okay, so superficial layers, layers inside the mantle, at the core mantle boundary and inside. So superficial layers, okay, not much pattern here. In this part, okay, you have around 2000 approximately, the core mantle boundary around 3000, and inside the core, it can touch 5000 or 6000 also. And now see, these values are approximations. आपके book में लिखा होगा, okay, 1570, 2300, we round that off. Okay, the variations, so I have put convenient numbers, 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000, तो आपको याद रहेगा. Okay, the trend is, you go inside, it becomes hotter, and okay, there are specific locations where temperatures can really rise to higher levels. Fine? Fine. That's about the temperature pattern. The next online. Are you all keeping pace with me? Deepak, I hope I did not disappoint you beyond a point. Satyendra, fine. Harish, all keeping pace? Yeah. In fact, one reason why I write on the board is this. Okay, the pace can be according to, you can catch up with me. And I do repeat. You miss out, you can, okay. I'm going slow. There, Anisha says, reduce speed a bit. Fine, I'll reduce speed a bit. अब धीरे धीरे बोलते हैं आपको. Yes, Devarga. The interior energy is the geothermal energy. Correct. Does friction of layers create heat? होता होगा, but nothing substantial to talk about in terms of such temperature. जैसे हाथ आपका जल रहा है, उसमें rubbing will do what? Okay, will not impact much. Okay, so friction can cause, but that is not the main source of heat. Tectonic activities, yes, those can create heat. Okay, fine, let's move on. So the fourth one is the differentiation of the interiors. There are different models. Okay, differentiation of the interiors. Okay, different models. Okay, Deepak, that's fine. But my recommendation to all of you is, this is a live course, okay? It's always nice that you write down whatever you have to write down in the class when the class is live. You should not need to watch the recordings again. Recording watch karna is a waste of time. Okay? It's like, I have taught for 2.5 hours. Dobara I बैठ के देख रहा another 1 hour. Okay? इससे अच्छा है कोई movie देख लो या animal ही देख लेना if nothing else. Okay? So watching the recording again is a wrong strategy. So accordingly concentrate. I'm asking you, you miss out, tell me. मैं repeat कर दूंगा आपको. Okay, so don't depend. You must study like आपके पास recording नहीं है. Okay, recording giving you is actually a bad preparation strategy. Yes, it does, Devarga. Okay, fine. What was that? I sound cool. Yo, agreed. I'm absolutely cool. You dude. You can say again. I'm losing out myself sometimes. Yeah, this. So ऐसे भी करना पड़ेगा, है ना? No. I forgot. It's like this. If I have sunglasses. Rajnikant, he's a legend. Okay, we can't even talk. I've got my own style. Come back here. Interiors of Earth. Before we get romantic, let's unwind here first. Okay, so there are different models of interiors of Earth. Now, I'll give you a table. Don't draw right now. So, oops. Invariably, all the scholars have divided the interiors under 3 heads: the outer layer, the middle layer, and the inner layers. Okay, and there are 4 or 5 scholars. I will sum those up for you. Okay, so this is the name of the scholar. This is the outer layers. What is it? What are the intermediate layers? And this is the inner and the deeper layers. The name of the scholar, the outer superficial layers, the middle layers, and the inner layers. Okay? Now, you can keep writing one by one. The first one I'm discussing is, this was among the first ones, was say Edward Swiss. Edward Swiss model. Okay, Edward Swiss. I mean, you all know this term. You know? There is Sial, there is Seema, and there is knife. So most of us have heard these terms. At school level mein, this is the model we have followed. The outer layer is called as Sial, the beach wala Seema hai, and inside is knife. Now some property about it. According to Edward Swiss, the Sial is the lightest. The Sial is the lightest. The Sial represents the continents. And the Sial ka thickness jo hai, he said, it is about 600 and in some, 60 and in some places 300 kilometers thick. This was Edward Swiss interpretation. Sial layer, lightest layer, continents, and the thickness is in this range. The Seema layer is the ocean layer, and the thickness was about 3,000 kilometers. The thickness of 3,000 kilometers. And the knife is the innermost layer. This is the innermost layer. This is the densest layer. And Edward Swiss said that this is, okay, this is approximately about 6,000 to 7,000 kilometers ka thickness. Knife is 6,000 to 7,000 kilometers thickness. Seema is not 3, sorry, 2. Seema is 2,000 kilometers thick. The knife is the densest. So all beyond 2,000, he said, is knife. और उसका thickness कितना है? 6,000 से 7,000 kilometer. The idea of Edward Suez. Another man is Arthur Holmes. He's again a very important scholar in many of the studies. Arthur Holmes. Arthur Holmes' interpretation is, he said the 3 layers are, the outermost layer he called this as the grandiorite layer. The grandiorite layer. This essentially has more of granite and diorite rocks. There are 2 types of rocks. Grandiorite is short form of granite rocks plus diorite rocks. Grandiorite layers. And the grandiorite layer is the, okay, is the lightest layer. Is the lightest layer, grandiorite, and it is the first 10-12 kilometers. The first 10-12 kilometers. Okay. The intermediate layer he called as amphibolite layer. It is the amphibolite layer, and this is about 20 to 25 kilometers thickness. Amphibolite layer is 20-25 kilometers, 25 thickness, and the deeper layers he called as ecologites. So all beyond this are ecologite layers. These essentially are minerals. Amphibole, you know now, amphibole, pyroxene. Okay. Ecologites are one type of the ferromagnesium silicates. So he had talked about 3 layers in these names. Arthur Holmes, grandiorite, amphibolite, and ecologites. The third model was given by Daly, D-A-L-Y. Daly's model. Again, this is a very popular model, it used to be at least. He said the outer ones are the layers of outer silicates. The outer silicates, and then there is intermediate silicates, intermediate silicate layer, and there is an inner silicate layer. The outer silicate, the intermediate silicate, and the inner silicate. The outer one is about 1,600 kilometers thick. Outer is about 1,600 kilometers thick, and it is the lightest density of about 2.5 to 3 density. About 2.53. The intermediate layer is the next 1,300 to 1,500 kilometers thick. The pehla 1,600 ke baad mein another 1,300 kilometer is intermediate. Intermediate, and a density of about 4.5 to 9. Density of 4.5 to 9. And the inner silicates, okay, this is the rest. It has a thickness of 7,000 kilometers, and the density of this is approximately 11. Density of this is 11. Tarun, whatever I teach you here is important. ठीक है, इसमें if not important, I will not teach you. You should know the names. And you know, one thing all of you understand, the detailing is entirely how you perceive the competition. इस पे क्वेश्चन पूछा नहीं है. But syllabus says, now watch this. The syllabus says interiors of Earth. Okay. And this is a competition. Whoever gets more marks qualifies. So if all of you have exactly the same content and you can't differentiate, okay, आपको marks भी average ही मिलेगा. So in time, your content must increase a bit more. So if I am asked a question in interiors of Earth, I'll quickly say that there are many models, some of which are 1, 2, 3, 4, make a table and leave it. But the more contemporary ones are, now I'll detail what all others know. ठीक है? So the subject कितना पढ़ाना है और कितना पढ़ना है, it depends on how you perceive the competition. And remember, this is not a pass-fail examination थोड़ी है. You get 100 marks, you fail, or you more than 100 you pass. ऐसा थोड़ी होता है. So whatever I teach you here, you can trust that and remember that. That's why, Deepak, the models are not correct. The models are somebody's interpretations. And this is what they have told about the earth. But हम कहाँ कह रहे हैं कि सारा right है? Much of this will make no sense in our modern contemporary studies. Okay, fine. So 3 names I have told you. The fourth one, now this is very close to what our present day understanding tells us. A model given by Van der Graat. A model by Van der Graat. Van der Graat's model. Okay. Now he says there are outer silicates. Okay, write down now. The outer silicates, he said the thickness is about 60 to 80 kilometers thickness. The density of this is approximately 3. Is 3. And these are the continents. And these are absent at the oceans. Okay? Exam में भी इसी फॉर्म में लिखना, ये वाला part in table. Don't elaborate too much on this. 60-80 kilometers thick, density 3, you find them in the continents, and this layer is absent at the oceans. Okay. Now the middle layer, he says there are 2 parts. The middle layer has, one is inner silicates, there is inner silicates. The inner silicates about 60 to 1000 kilometers, the density of which is about 3 to 4.75 is density. And below this, ये एक layer है, इसके नीचे एक और layer है. He called this as the layer of mixed silicates. Inner silicates and then a layer of mixed silicates. The mixed silicates, okay, approximately they are beyond 1000 kilometers, okay, up to 2900 kilometers. The density of which is about 4.75 to 5. 4.75 to 5. So if you know the modern classification, you will know that this is what is called as the inner mantle. This is the upper and the middle mantle. So this model is very close to what we know today. Okay, outer silicates, inner silicates, mixed silicates, and the innermost, he said, is the core. Innermost is core, and this core has, okay, this is beyond 2000, beyond 3000 kilometers के beyond सारा core है, the density of which is approximately 11. And this has pure metals. It has pure metals. Okay, typically what we call as the knife or the core. So Van der Graaf's model is closest to our understanding of what the interiors are made up of. Beyond 2000 jitna bhi hai, he said, is your core. Is the core. 11 density. So you could add one point here. Your notes add kar lo. That Van der Graaf's model is very close approximation to our contemporary understanding of interiors of Earth. A very close approximation of our contemporary understanding of the interiors of the Earth. Interiors of the Earth. Yeah, Saubhagya, that's right. That's why this is optional. And what we otherwise have read is NCERT and GS. In GS, ये सब थोड़ी बताएंगे आपको. Okay. So as your competition becomes a bit more intense, so will the content start expanding. Okay, so add this in your notes. Okay. So I've discussed number 1, Earth is layered. Number 2, composition कैसा है. Number 3, pressure pattern क्या है. Number 4, temperature pattern क्या है. And number 5, what are the layers? No questions asked on these. एक बार पूछा था way back in, I think, early 90s पूछा था. Since then are not asked. That makes me all the more confident that they can always surprise you in one of these years. Okay. They'll always bring in some old concept and ask you. Fine. Let's move on now. Take a fresh page and the contemporary as in recent, the contemporary understanding of the Earth's interiors. What is the Earth made up of in terms of our modern day study and modern day evidences? Okay? Now, contemporary, there are 2 models, and both of them are correct. The approach is a bit different. 2 models. One is called as the model of chemical composition and differentiation. The model of chemical composition and differentiation. Whenever I use the word chemical, I talk in terms of what it is made up of, what elements, what minerals, what rocks. I'm talking about, okay, what is its composition? What is it made up of? There's another scheme, it's called as mechanical differentiation. Mechanical differentiation is about the strength and rigidity of the layers. This is in terms of what is it made up of. This is in terms of how much can something be deformed, how much can something be stretched, bent, Will it break or not? This is the strength and the rigidity. The basis is the strength and the rigidity of a layer. How hard a layer is. The word rigidity is about hardness. How hard a layer is. Okay. Let's start with the chemical layering. So give a heading. Chemical differentiation. Chemical differentiation. Okay. Now, this is what most of us have read. There are 3 layers. The outermost layer is called as the crust. The middle layer is called as the mantle. The innermost layer is called as the core. The 3, and this is the most common you all have heard. Okay, this is somewhat analogous to the crust is sial, the mantle is sema, the core is the knife. Okay, but remember these are actually wrong. Okay, differentiation. Okay, entire crust is not sial. Okay, so you know this, but not same exactly. इसको हम अलग से कराएंगे. Okay, so let's take up the crust. Now the crust is of 2 types. The crust is the outermost layer. The crust is the thinnest layer. The crust is the lightest layer. The crust is the outermost layer. The crust is the thinnest and the lightest, सबसे हल्का layer है. And this crust is of 2 types. There is continental crust and there is ocean crust. This is something we emphasize on. Don't see the ocean floor as extensions of the continents. So one of the old idea was कि ये continent है और यही continent आगे चल के बढ़ गया and we have got water here. So continent itself is submerged and this ocean floor. We say no, ऐसा नहीं है. Continent अलग है and ocean एक अलग rock है. It's a different rock itself. It's like, you know, my house flooring, okay, is not same as the floor extending and becoming garden. Floor is different. Floor is wooden, floor is tiles, floor is concrete, and garden is soil. So they are 2 different things completely. They have been made from different rocks. The process of formation alag hai, and they have got different properties. So our discussion point here is that the oceans are not extensions of the continents. They are 2 different, okay, layers entirely. No, Satyendra, don't go that way. Wait. The continents are, okay, I said, now these terms, the continents are largely felsic. The continents, the main rock is, okay, granite. The main rocks are diorites. The main rocks are sedimentary rocks. The continent, because it's felsic, it is more acidic in its pH value. The continents are lighter, density of 2.5. Continents are felsic. The rocks of continents are granite, diorite, sedimentary rocks. Okay, you can also add one more rock's name, andesite. ये काफी common rock है. Andesite rocks, A-N-D-E-S-I-T. Andesite from the name Andes. You find lot of andesite rocks in some of the mountains. Acidic है, lighter है, and it is also more thicker. हल्का है, and it's bigger, like a balloon, think of a balloon. It's more thicker. The thickness can be 30 to 60 kilometers, and in some cases, it can also be as thick as 80 kilometers. It can also be as thick as 80 kilometers. And within the continent, again, there are great variations. Okay. That because something is 30 kilometers thick, how can the whole thing be only one type? As you go down, inside continent also you will have variations. So continent has great variations in composition and density within itself. The continents have great variations in composition and density within itself. If I draw a diagram for this, agar ye continent hai, okay, so this thickness I said can be 30-60 kilometers. The upper layers, these are more lighter. The upper layers are more felsic. The upper layers, okay, these are more acidic. You go down, these are relatively denser. These are relatively mafic. Within continents भी variations हैं. Okay, the lower layers are relatively denser and they're relatively more mafic. Okay, so that's about the continents. Okay, I've drawn the diagram with the continents. Now come towards the oceans. The same points oceans में. Oceans, unlike felsic, the oceans are mafic. The oceans are mafic rocks. Ocean का जो rocks है, the main rock of ocean is basalt plus one intrusive rock का variety है called as gabbro. The oceans have basalt and the oceans have gabbro. अगर mafic है, it is bound to be basic. It is denser about 3.5 density. The oceans are denser. Oceans are thin. On average, the thickness is less than 1 kilometer. It can be as much as 3 kilometers sometimes. Imagine, कहाँ पर 30-60 की बात हो रही है. Oceans are 1 kilometer से कम होता है. And sometimes maybe 3 kilometers. And within the oceans, within the ocean thickness, the variations are not significant. Within the oceans, the variations of property in rocks is not significant. Understandable, right? If something is as thick and something is as thin, इसमें क्या ही variations ज़्यादा हो जाएगा? Okay, the oceans are thinner. So these rocks are far more denser, they are mafic, they are basic, okay, compared to rocks that we have in the continents. So our conclusion point here is that the oceans are not, okay, extensions of the continents. Structurally, ये दो अलग चीज हैं. Okay, it's like, you know, the sweater we put on are not extensions of our body and skin. हालांकि winters में they become one. Okay, we refuse to come out of our sweaters. Okay, but otherwise they are two different things. All good here? Fine? Okay. Now that's about the continent and oceans. One point जान लीजिए आप. The crust formation, lay down please. The crust formation was among the last events. The crust formation was among the last events in Earth's accretion. ये last बना है. One of the last events in the Earth's accretion. In the Earth's accretion. The fundamental crust of the Earth are the oceans. The fundamental crust of the Earth are The oceans. The oceans came first. Okay. And the continents were differentiated and formed from the oceans. The continents were differentiated and were formed from the oceans. Okay? They were formed and they were differentiated from the oceans. What we are saying is, how old is Earth? About 3.54 billion years is Earth's age. When was the first ocean formed? The first ocean was formed around 2.5 billion years ago. We call this time as the Archean times. The first oceans were formed around 2.5 billion years ago. तो oceans, okay, पहले आए continent से, and Earth के formation में the crust was formed last. So therefore, which of these is older? Is the continent older or is the ocean older? Now that's the catch. Oceans are fundamental, okay, but oceans also get destroyed. It's like, who is more fundamental, you or your great-grandfather? Okay, yeah, the great-grandfather. But घर के अंदर घुसोगे, then you probably are, okay, there, and your grandfather has already passed away, correct? So the oceans came first, but the oceans also got destroyed. So if you look at the rocks, continents में हमें 2.5 and 3 billion years के rocks मिल जाएंगे, but ocean पे I will not have rocks older than 200 million years. The old oceans have been destroyed. They have been consumed. That is point down. Okay. Although the oceans are the fundamental crust. Okay. Ocean से ही बना है continent. Right? It's like, the curd and the cream. The cream comes from the milk. The milk is more fundamental. Milk से ही निकल के आता है cream. So ocean से ही बन के आया है continents. Although the oceans are the fundamental crust, but the early oceans have now been destroyed. The early oceans have now been destroyed. Within bracket, write down one word, हम समझा देंगे बाद में. You may have heard this earlier. The destruction process called as subduction. The oceans have undergone subduction. They have been pulled inside the mantle and they are destroyed. The oceans have been destroyed, whereas the continents have rocks, okay, older than 2.53 billion years. They have rocks older than 2.5 and 3 billion years. Some of the oldest rocks we have found in parts of Canada, in the parts of Sweden and Norway. वहाँ पे बहुत पुराने rocks मिले हैं हमें. Continents have rocks as much as 2.53 billion years old. Fine here? Okay, and put a star mark. Continents are forever. Continents don't get destroyed. Continents are forever. Continents do not get destroyed like the oceans. They don't get destroyed like the oceans. Okay, we started off today's first class for many of you. Okay, and now one exercise for all of you. So as a part of your geography, I also try supporting some GS work for all of you. So I keep giving assignments, 1 week assignment, 10-day assignment, and so on. One last assignment I gave the students of the previous batch was to summarize some history, NCERT, polity, economy, and so on. Now for all of you, the next assignment is summarization of an economy NCERT book. Okay? इंट्रोडक्टरी मैक्रोइकोनॉमिक्स क्लास 12th का है, क्लास 12। इट डजंट मैटर आप कहां पर जीएस कर रहे हो, these are the books which are part of your self study. Nobody will teach this to you to start with, okay? And there are 6 chapters in this. I'm giving you, you tell me how much time you need. And try participating and sticking on to that. Online, offline, बताओ कितना टाइम चाहिए आपको? Yeah? 1 week, 5 days, 6 days? 10 days? Okay, fine. What else? Yes. Reading means you must make your summaries. Economy, you can have some more pages. The total pages in this, about 100 pages. Okay? So maybe 15, 20 sheets, pages mein. So is 1 week fine, all of you? Can you all raise your hand who all are participating in this? I know eventually some of you will drop out, but at least try the process. Yes? Okay. So all those who raise your hand, even otherwise, others also join in. Yes? Keep about 15 odd pages. Okay? Nobody will kill you if you go to 16, 17 page. But keep it as tight as possible. Okay, Ananya, Muskan, Hari, Suraj, Samiksha, Arpita, fine. On Fridays, yeah please, on Fridays, you have your current affairs roundup class. We start at 2:30. And tomorrow, okay, not all of you, the new batch, I'll let you know when. The older batch, I had called out some names. For the older students, जिसका नाम मैंने बुलाया था last couple of days पहले, 3 o'clock onwards, we'll have your articles reading and some other exercise around current affairs. And the only criteria I choose is how regular are you with your work. यही सब काम आपका हम track करेंगे. It's like if I'm going extra distance to support you, I also want you to participate a bit more eagerly. And we don't charge any fees for this, because of which the only thing I want in return is your commitment and your integrity. आप नहीं करना चाहें, that's your choice. But if you want to do it, okay, tomorrow's session I will take. I'll take, and maybe part of it Uttam sir or Devendra sir will take. We'll let you know what articles we'll take up. Today's session, Devendra's, the Fridays, Devendra sir takes. On Saturdays, you also have your current affairs test on the topics he covers. So take a half an hour break, a 20 minutes break, and join back with the current affairs tab. Okay? My cup of tea is done. Fine. Bye-bye. See all of you tomorrow. Yes.
So in case of Zealandia, it's submersion.